we have Mr. Ruff tonight.
Thanks, Chair, for having me. So I got a few questions, ideally for all three witnesses. First off, though, I do want to point out, Mr. Rouleau, that I did kind of take issue with your first point about everybody having a brain. You are talking to a bunch of federal politicians, and the jury's still out on whether or not we actually meet that requirement. Look, my specific question to you and to Biocan RX is with respect to a specific incurable disease right now, diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, or glioma, DIPG as it's known, and is there any progress there? Is there something here? I know you're both talking about the moonshot here and how an investment, but here's a disease that I know is impacting youth across the country, not on large numbers, but it is incurable, and it's basically that death sentence for those families that find out. And I'm just wondering where your research is on specifically DIPG, if I could ask both Mr. Rouleau and Biocan RX.
Yeah, maybe I can start. So I know this very well. There's a lot of research being done on that in Montreal and in Toronto. And there's even a company that's been created. It's been created in the open space. It's called M4K, Meds for Kids. That's working on development of a potential treatment for this disease. So it's a nice example of a rare, terrible disease where when we started understanding some of the biology, ideas appear as to how to find treatments for this disease.
Yeah, just to add to that, there is, out of California now, some, again, using the CAR-T approach in this particular indication where they're seeing some promising activity in young kids suffering from it. So I think there are things happening, as Guy mentioned, and there's a lot of, I think, new opportunities. So it's time to be optimistic, although it's tough when you're right in the middle of it, for sure.
And is there anything we can do to sort of speed it up or to help advance it?
I think that, what we're all talking about is trying to find ways to create more cohesive research programs that will actually advance these sorts of new discoveries faster, and that's certainly one of the objectives of Biocan RX, but also of the Neuroscience Network, is trying to find ways to rapidly get our discoveries out of the test tube and into people, and that's really what I think we all think is the way to move forward.
Super. I think I'll move over to the nuclear side a little bit, and because it all is interlinked. But representing Bruce-Grey-Owen Sound, which a number of my constituents work at Bruce Power, and consider I'm subbing in for Mr. Lobb, who does represent that area. I think it's appropriate. Spent a number of years up in Petawawa in my previous career as well, so know the Chalk River area quite well. And look, I think it's some great news that you guys were, given that new lease on life by the government of Canada in 2014, and I applaud you for everything you're doing. Canada is recognized as a world leader with our isotope technology, in particular what's coming out. And so I guess could you just expand a little bit on sort of the medical isotopes and not only this actinium-225 that you're focused on, but just what percentage of the market is sort of global market and how you guys are leading the way for Canada in this field?
Great, thanks very much for that question. Now, I'm not sure I can give you an exact figure on the percentage of the global market. Right now, I would say it's actually fairly small in probably the lutetium-177 area. In the alpha therapies, which I mentioned, which is the actinium, we're really just on the cusp of starting to get companies involved in this. Right now, we are still very much in preclinical trials. So when we look at the actual amount of material that's out there, as I said, it's very small. And so one of the issues that we have in actually being able to advance further development of these treatments is getting enough material so that the industry or the clinicians can actually be ready to use it. So I know I have just a couple of seconds here. So we believe that Canada has the opportunity between not only Bruce Power and the reactors at Bruce Power and OPG, but also CNL, to be able to take over the radioisotope leadership in the world. I think the talent is here, the production capabilities are here, and the urgency is here as well.
Thank you.